my dad shouldn't be punished because he worked so hard to be able to pay for that.
Right.
And that's kind of how I see it. It's like, if we're just going to wipe out, same thing with consumer debt. And this is where I say control the controllables. Anyone that's in debt, and I have been there for sure. I've had years where I paid off, divorces and things like that. You can accumulate some debt.
Yeah, those can be pricey.
They're a little pricey. But with that said, you make the choice. You got in the hole, get out of the hole.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like people are just waiting to be rescued. And that's what, for me, that's what ticks me off.
So the problem is, so many people, if that happens, let's break it down to the 100% of the people that would get that relief.
Okay.
Out of that 100%, one can argue that there are some of those people, I don't know what the number would be, that will legitimately benefit from that.
Yep.
And they will use it the right way.
Yep.
And that'll be a good thing. What I'm afraid of is you get like a $10,000 statement credit,
Yeah.
is really what it would be, right? They're immediately going to say, well, man, that's $10,000 off of that. Well, I can go spend 12 over here now.
Right.
And that's what I'm afraid of. And that's human nature, what so many people do.
And that's why they're in the situation in the first
Yes.
place.
So they're going to get help. And
Yes.
a year later, they're going to be in a worse situation.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's, it goes to the thing, and I said this, and I think I ticked some people off. I said this on the show before, with last year with the stimulus money coming out, there were some high-end stores here that they had to hire extra security. So if we're sending out stimulus money so you can buy groceries,
yeah.
don't get in line at the Gucci store to buy your $1,000 tennis shoes.
No?
But
Don't
that's
do-
what was I don't. You're not supposed. But here's the thing. Everybody makes the argument, well, that's what they choose to spend money on. Fantastic. I could care less what everybody spends their own money on.
Sure.
I care what you spend my money on,
Yeah.
which is where that's coming from.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you've got to look at it. I'm all for helping. I know I sound like cold and heartless, and I'm only cold and heartless some of the time.
No, that's good, though.
But it's true. It's good to be cold and heartless.
Well, at times.
You've got to
No, but you know what that is?
People need to think.
It's called reality. And so often now, look, we live in a world where nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, and
I like hurting people's
everybody
feelings.
is just soft, and it's like, woe is me, feel bad for me, I've done nothing but make horrible decisions, and you should be sympathetic for me. No, you got to get smacked every now and then,
But
and the
all right,
reality's got to set in.
I
You did
agree.
it.
I agree. But let's talk about that, because I know we're sitting here going, yeah, you should feel bad, and we don't feel bad for you. But that's because you and I both made horrible decisions in our past
Lots.
and learned from them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. I made every bonehead decision I've ever made is just it. Most of them had to do with relationships, but that's another episode. But with that, we all made crappy decisions and we learned from them.
Yeah.
So if you're not learning from them and you're still creating the same vortex, it's not going to get better.
No, it's not. And periodically we get these wake-up calls. You mentioned COVID was one. Well,
Yep.
the real estate bubble.
2008?
Yeah. So, the year, whatever that was. That was another one for people. And so that was my wake-up call for me. Fortunately, I wasn't in a situation. I just lived in a house and was chilling,
Yeah.
But I watched good friends of mine, good people, hardworking people, good parents,
Yep.
pillars of society, lose their homes. And these weren't people that I would have, in a million years, I would have never thought that they were going to lose their homes.
So what made them lose it?
They were
Leverage?
leveraged. It didn't matter how much money they were making. They could have been making $50,000 a year, or they could be making $500,000 a year. No matter what that amount was, they were living like they were making more than that.
Yeah.
And boom, they lost their homes. Everything from houses that were worth $100,000 to, a couple $1 million homes. My friends built this house. It was beautiful. I'd never really seen a house like it. They're like, come on over and check out this house. Had an elevator in it. I'm like, wow, they got an elevator in their house, And at the time,
Yeah.
like now at my age, I've seen a couple homes with elevators in them.
Right.
It's not my thing, but whatever. Elevator companies have to work too.
They have
so
to
I'm all
make
for
a
that.
living.
And they're just like, you want to ride in the elevator? I'm like, yes, I want to ride in the elevator. Of course I do, And it was a beautiful home. The pool, and they had the mosquito mister and all that. It's nice. It's like, oh, the mosquitoes are coming out. Oh, they just hit the button over here, and here comes the mist. I was like, wow, this is how the rich
Right.
people live. That house was gone like a year later,
Well, and people leverage. That's the thing with debt, it allows people to leverage. It allows people to get things. I don't remember having, when I was little, I just don't remember credit cards. I'm sure they were around, but if we didn't have something, you didn't buy it. We had layaway. I remember layaway. We'd go do our school shopping and get clothes, and you could put them on layaway.
Yeah.
But the cool thing with layaway, I don't know if you remember this because you might not have been a shopper, but you would go, and layaway just basically said, these are my clothes. I want to have them. And they keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've paid it, like, I'll pay a little bit here, I'll pay a little bit here, pay a little bit. Once you pay it off, then you get your stuff.
Yeah.
That was layaway. That was probably in the, 70s. But now they're like, ooh, I want all this stuff. We're like, just take it. Take it. Just, you can have it now.
Yeah.
Pay for it later. And it's the pay for it later that's getting people in trouble. So now they just get all this stuff. Now, I'm not dissing stuff, because I am a fan of, and I know you're a fan of toys and things.
Yeah.
And, adventures and going places and spending money. But correct me if I'm wrong, you're probably not spending what you don't have.
No. But I think it's because I grew up, I don't know, just without anything.
Yep.
So, and I remember that. And so when you get older and something goes the right way, you're like, hey, this is pretty good. I don't want to screw it up,
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm not, you're right. I'm not spending.
But I think part of that is where you came from. I mean, I think that's why my dad grew up very poor. And I think that's why he's so conservative with his money, and he's very thoughtful in what he spends things on and everything. He's very anti-debt as well. But I feel like, regardless of background, I know people that came from wealthy backgrounds who are in a lot of debt, and I know people that came from very poor that are in a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And the opposite's true. It's just, I feel like it gets back to personal responsibility. And that's what seems to be lacking. Like, first of all, we're not educating people. We talked about that before, but it's personal responsibility. It's no one's fault but your own, but that's what people aren't. It's like, I didn't do it. I don't know where all this debt came from. But can you fix it for me, Mr. Whoever, stranger, government, whatever?
Yeah.
They want somebody else to fix their problem. That's what's wrong.
That's worldwide right now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But how can we shift that? How do we shift that narrative where they're not? Because first of all, it's people buying crap they don't need
Yeah.
to impress people they don't like.